Hello guys, Absolute Duelist here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, guys, I've got a crazy one for you. So, in today's video, we're going to be looking up the next greatest engine in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that comes out in literally a matter of weeks. This is going to come out at the end of the month in the new set Cyberstorm Access, and I cannot believe how good this engine is. Like, I've been testing it in so many different decks and it works so well in so many different decks. So in today's video, you're going to get to see different decks this combo can go in. You guys are going to get to see different combos. You guys are going to see the bog standard combo that this engine does every time to make 2 Omni Negates, normally with 1.5 cards. And overall, guys, you're going to get a little description of what the engine actually is. So let's go ahead and get into this, show you guys the engine, and essentially give you guys an idea of what this engine is. Here's the engine. This is the Super Heavy Samurai engine. And I never thought in my entire time of playing Yu-Gi-Oh that super heavyweight samurais are gonna be potentially the best engine in the game. What does this engine essentially offer? This engine offers you, with just 1.5 cards, 2 Omni Negates, a Pendulum Summon, and also no normal summon required. So you go through this whole engine where you get 2 Omni Negates, a free Pendulum Summon, and you don't even need to normal summon. And all it asks you is to discard 1 monster card. And guys, I honestly cannot believe Konami made an engine like this that literally says, I'm going to end on 2 Omni Negates without needing to normal summon whatsoever. And it's absolutely insane just thinking that Konami made this engine, and I can't believe that they actually did. So let's go ahead and start talking about what the cards are in the engine. So starting off, we have Free Prodigy. What this card will essentially do is, while it's in the Pendulum Zone and you have no spell and trap cards in your graveyard, you can place 1 Pendulum Monster from your deck into your spell and trap card zone to be able to essentially have the Pendulum Monster there. So you have a scale 1, which is Big Benkai, and if it's used for Synchro Material, you can go ahead and place this card back into the Pendulum Zone. So essentially, throughout the entire combo, you're going to place the Big Benkai into your Pendulum Zone, and then you're going to go ahead and Synchro Summon with Prodigy to go ahead and put this back into the Pendulum Zone to have a Scale 8 and a Scale 1 to be able to Pendulum Summon pretty much any monster in the game. So right off the bat, absolutely insane. What does Big Benkai do? Big Benkai says, if you have a Super Heavyweight Samurai monster in the monster zone, you can add any super heavyweight soul card from your deck to your hand. So this guy is essentially going to search you the most important soul monster to allow you to do your full combo, and you're going to go from there to essentially achieve the whole combo. Next, we play Free Bike. What Bike does is, if you have no spell or trap cards in your graveyard, you can discard it to add Prodigy to your hand or any other super heavyweight samurai card from your deck to your hand. So pretty much Bike is the extender, and it's also really important because it's a level 2 tuner that you're going to summon off the acces Synchro Stardust Dragon here to make Baron later on in the combo as well. Next, we have Soul Piercer. This card is pretty important because you're going to go ahead and equip it to your Prodigy after summoning it to then go ahead and send the Prodigy to the graveyard with this to the graveyard to search out any super heavyweight samurai card to essentially allow you to continue your combo from there. We also play 1 Soul Peacemaker, which has the ability to attach itself to a super heavyweight samurai monster, tribute that super heavyweight samurai monster, and special summon any super heavyweight samurai monster from the deck. We also play, which are optionals, these next 2 cards are optional cards for the engine because this is an 11 to 10 to even 9 card engine, and these next 2 cards are fully optional. You don't have to play them, but I choose to play them in some decks and some in not, so it really is up to you at the end of the day. First is Soul Gaia Booster. What this card essentially does is, if you have no spell or trap cards in the graveyard, you can equip this card to a super heavyweight samurai monster and special summon it if there are no spell and trap cards in your graveyard. What else it does is, while it's equipped to a super heavyweight samurai monster, it turns that monster into a tuner. So if you want the ability to have an additional tuner, you have that, or you have an additional body to allow you to go further and make more plays, which is really nice. And then a really, really important card, in my personal opinion, in some decks, but not so much in other decks, is Super Heavyweight Samurai Scales, which says if your opponent controls 2 monsters, you can special summon it. that's not the important part. The important part is, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower super heavyweight samurai monster in your graveyard to go ahead and special summon it. So pretty much what this card does is, you get to go ahead and summon your Soul Piercer back, and then you can use it to search more cards. So essentially, this entire engine will be searching a ton of cards. It will use Soul Piercer multiple times. You summon it at least 3 times throughout the entire combo, and in these 11 cards, it's all important to these 9. These 9 cards are the most important part of the engine, so if you don't want to play these last 2, as I said, it is optional, but they do increase the chances of different plays and different combos, such as if you play Scales, or if you play Booster, you want to be able to play these 2 cards just for the fact that it allows you to go into the Accel and then the Baron. But if you choose not to, then you could have another level 4 monster, so you don't essentially need to play these cards at all as well, because it depends on the deck that you're actually playing it in. But honestly, these 11 cards are the main part of the engine, and yes, the last 2 they can be changed out, but you do want to at least have majority of these in. Normally Scales if you're a rank 4/link deck, or Booster if you're just a deck that doesn't really utilize the links mechanic or the acces mechanic for rank 4s. So yeah, this is the entire 11 cards. For the extra deck though, we're playing 1 super heavyweight samurai Scareclaw. This card is important because this is what you're going to make with your Prodigy when you go ahead and put the Soul Piercer on, because you go ahead and link into this, and what this card does is, if you have no spell or trap cards in your graveyard, you can discard 1 monster, then target 1 super heavyweight samurai monster in your graveyard, the Soul Piercer, and then special summon it. And then what you do is you equip the Soul Peacemaker to it, tribute it to summon another Prodigy from the deck, and then you can make your Boral Savage. So essentially, that is the entire engine, and then we've also got the Savage, the Accel, and the Baron de Fleur, which are the 4 extra deck monsters in total, which just take up your 4 extra deck spots. Like, these 4 cards are necessary for the entire combo, because you could go with technically 2 if you don't want to make the Baron. That is fully optional. But for 2 Omni Negates, you take up 4, and that's pretty much the entire engine. It takes 4 extra deck slots for 2 Omni Negates, and it also takes up to 10 at minimum most of the time, or 9 if you don't want to run the last 2 cards, to essentially have up to 2 Omni Negates. So guys, that is the engine portion of the video. Let's actually go into the combos to show you what this deck can actually do in different decks. Okay guys, so this is the combo portion of the video, where you guys are going to see essentially how the combo is actually played, and also see different decks that can play it while using the bare minimum amount of cards. Now this means that we're going to be just using the Soul Piercer Heavyweight Samurai engine with literally just normally 1 card from the actual deck that we're playing it in. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with the bare minimum from the engine and the deck we're actually playing them in. So starting off, we're going to be playing a super heavyweight samurai with a Adamantipator deck, and honestly, this is a very good hand, but we're only going to be using the super heavyweight samurai engine pretty much the entire time, if I remember correctly. We may use a researcher, but I think we actually end up searching it. So let's go ahead and see what this engine is capable of with just 1.5 cards. So starting off with Prodigy, Prodigy goes ahead and puts the Big Bankai in the scale. Big Bankai is going to get Soul Piercer. We're going to equip this Soul Piercer onto the Prodigy. We're going to turn him into a Scareclaw. Soul Piercer is going to go ahead and grab us our Bike. Then we're going to go ahead and discard the Bike most likely to go ahead and add from our deck to hand the Soul Peacemaker. We're then going to go ahead and use the Scarecrow to go ahead and special summon back the Soul Piercer, discarding a monster. And then we put the Soul Peacemaker onto the Scarecrow, which is going to summon another Prodigy from the deck. We then make Accel Stardust Dragon, and we're going to trigger Accel as 1, Soul Peacemaker as 2, and then Prodigy as 3, putting it back into the scale. So we're going to go ahead and then search our scales. Accel's going to summon a tuner. We're going to make Baron. We're then going to go ahead and Pendulum summon Scales and Prodigy. So as I said, we're not using any of the cards in our hand other than a discard, and also the searches we get from the whole engine. So we Pendulum summon 2, Pendulum summon the Prodigy, and also the Scales that we added with the Soul Peacemaker. Scales is going to allow us to go ahead and summon Prodigy back, and then we're going to link both the Soul Piercer and the Prodigy into an Asua. This is essentially just a link to climb to go ahead and allow us to make Baron later on. We're then going to go ahead and trigger the Soul Piercer to add the booster to hand. We're going to equip the booster onto the scales, and we're going to use booster to special summon itself. Over these two into a Gallic Granite, and then we're going to go ahead and search us a Researcher. And then we're going to special summon Researcher from the hand, use Researcher, going ahead and looking at the top 5 cards to go ahead and potentially special summon one of them. We special summon the Quakimeru Supplier, and then Supplier is going to go ahead and search us a Guardian. We're then going to go ahead and turn these into a Raptite. Raptite's going to trigger, potentially summoning that Analyzer that we just saw, and then we're going to summon the Analyzer. Analyzer is going to trigger, and we're going to look up the top 5 again, and we're going to special summon another Supplier. We're going to then turn those into an Appaloosa, turn the Supplier and the Analyzer into a Boral Savage that's going to equip the Asua, and then we're going to normal summon the Quakimeru Guardian that we searched earlier in the combo. So pretty much, guys, this was just the super heavyweight samurai engine with a discard. That was the first combo. And how many negates did we end on? We ended on 2 Omni Negates and 4 Monster Negates. And yes, technically you could argue that the Guardian isn't a Monster Negate, because if you don't have literally any rocks in hand, it's going to kill itself. But this was just using the 2 cards that we used for the engine, so we still have 3 cards to play with. And you've got to remember, guys, we searched a Researcher, so we could have technically earlier on in the combo searched an Analyzer or even a Seeker, and just allow you to go ahead and go into more combos, going even further and ending on even better boards. So this is just the first combo. Let's go ahead onto the next deck to show you what a different deck can do with this engine. Alright guys, so the next deck that we are mixing the Super Heavyweight Samurais with, as you can see, is Plunder Patrol. Now, as we all know, Plunder Patrol is one of those decks that could be potentially really broken, but sadly just is too restrictive to make it super broken. But with Super Heavyweight Samurais, the engine and deck has gotten even better. So let's go ahead and showcase to you what the engine can do for Plunder Patrol. And I'll make it clear now, we're just going to be using a Golden Hair and a Bike with a discard to be able to do this combo. The other cards in our hand are Terraforming and Double Nibiru. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. So getting into it, we're most likely going to start with the Bike, so we discard the Bike. Bike's going to get Prodigy, and then we're going to start doing the combo that we did in the last combo videos. Prodigy is placed in the Monster Zone, Benkei's in the other one, we get the Piercer, we're going to equip the Piercer onto the Prodigy, we're going to make the Scarecrow, Scarecrow's going to get us the Summon back, and Piercer's going to search us the Peacemaker. Then we're going to go ahead and summon back the Piercer here, as I said, put the Peacemaker onto the Scarecrow, turn that into a Prodigy, then we're going to make Boral Savage is going to trigger, Piercer's going to trigger, and Prodigy's going to trigger to go ahead and start getting us the Scales, and also our first Omni Negate. We're then going to go ahead and Pendulum Summon all of these lovely cards, the Prodigy, the Scales, and the Golden Hair, and we're going to trigger Scales to summon back the Piercer right there. We're then going to make acces Synchro Dragon to go ahead and allow us to summon back something, and Piercer's going to go ahead and get us the booster, so we're going to summon back the Bike, turn those into a Baron for our second Omni Negate. We're then going to go ahead and use Booster, equip it onto the Scales, and special summon the Booster. We're then going to go ahead and summon out our Plunder Patrol Jord. This is very important. And before we go further than this, as you saw, we're going to trigger our Baron, which is going to allow us to go ahead and pop the Big Benkai. We're going to then use the Jord to go ahead and add a Plunder Patrol, which is the Golden Hair from the graveyard to the hand. And then we're going to go ahead and use Jord's effect in the Pendulum Zone to summon 2 tokens, one to my board and one to my opponent's, and we're going to summon a Light token to the opponent's board. We're then going to turn those into a Blackbeard. Blackbeard's going to summon and use its effect, turning it into a Lease. And then what we do there is pretty much end with Lease, Boral Savage, and Baron de Fleur. And honestly, guys, technically we could go even further because of the draw we got was a Booty. We've got the Plunder Patrol discard to go ahead and have our Monster Negate that can go ahead and search any Plunder Patrol card. After the negate, we have our Captain here, which can go ahead and special summon itself and then turn into anything our opponent's on, essentially. So if they're playing Darks, we could summon the Moek. If they're on Fire Monsters, we could summon the other Plunder Patrol ship, go ahead and banish back row. Like, we have multiple different options here to go from this point onwards. So pretty much, guys, that's what it can do with Plunder Patrol with just literally 2 cards. And if we had a Whitebeard, we could have technically ended on a lot better there, being able able to have the red beard to go ahead and transform into other stuff as well. We could have ended on the Moak on our first turn as well with an acces summon. There is a lot of different stuff that you can do with this engine thanks to the Plunder Patrols, and honestly, Super Heavyweight Samurais being able to do this is really, really good. So it gives you the additional monsters, it gives you the additional abilities, and honestly, you have to make the Baron in this combo to pop your Big Benkai, but it's fine because Jordan goes ahead and puts a token on your opponent's board, so if they're on cash, they can't play the game. But anyway, that's that combo. Let's go on to the next deck. Something for the people in the current meta. The next deck that we are mixing the Super Heavyweight Samurai engine with is Kashtira. So for those of you who know, Kashtira is currently the most broken deck in the game for the fact that it can zone lock your opponent. But in this combo, we're going to be just using the Terraforming, which is going to allow us to go ahead and grab us a Unicorn, and also Prodigy, which is going to allow us to go ahead and make 2 Omni Negates. So as you can see, our hand is pretty broken, but we're only using 1.5 cards for the Super Heavyweight Samurai engine and Terraforming to get us to our Kashtira cards. Let's go ahead and see how this combo goes. So obviously we're doing the same Super Heavyweight Samurai combo again. We're going to go ahead and use him, get the Piercer. Piercer's going to be attached to the Prodigy. Go ahead and make the Scarecrow after this. And then we're going to go ahead and search out our Bike. Bike's going to get discarded to go ahead and search the Peacemaker because you need the Bike. And then you're going to go ahead and discard the Rise Heart, summon back the Peacemaker, and then you're going to go ahead and summon out the Prodigy to use the Piercer and the Prodigy to go ahead and search, make an Omni Negate, and make your Pendulum Scale. From this point onwards, we're going to go ahead and use Terraforming. Terraforming is going to go ahead and get Pressure Planet. Pressure Planet is going to be activated getting Unicorn. We're then going to go ahead and Pendulum Summon the Booster, the Unicorn, and the Prodigy. You're going to turn those into acces Synchro Stardust Dragon, summon back the Bike, make the Baron the floor, and then we're going to go into the Kashtira combo getting the Theosis. We're going to go ahead and summon out the Fenrir. Fenrir is going to go ahead and get Rise Heart. We're then going to go ahead and make Shangri-La. Then we're going to go ahead and summon the Rise Heart, banish one from deck, Big Bang, and we're going to banish some cards from the opponent's deck, use Big Bang, take a zone, essentially locking out the opponent's ability to go ahead and use the Super Heavyweight Samurai combo because we take their Pendulum Zone, and then we go ahead and summon the Fenrir back, and pretty much we make a Rise Heart, go into the opponent's standby phase, and then we summon Unicorn from the deck because, you know, as you can see, with the Super Heavyweight Samurai stuff, you've made a Kashtira board with 2 Omni Negates, Macrocosmos, Fenrir to issue a face-up card, Unicorn to banish something from the opponent's extra deck, and also zone locking. So pretty much that was just with 1.5 cards for the Super Heavyweight Samurai engine and Terraforming to get the Kashtira cards. So literally 2.5 cards equaled Macrocosmos, 2 Omni Negates, face-up banish, extra deck banish, and zone locking potential. So with Kashtira, it's absolutely insane, right? Like, in a meta deck, it makes it super powerful as well, which is just to show you guys that it can do powerful stuff in the meta, while also making weaker decks powerful as well. So let's go ahead onto the last combo to show you something that I think is absolutely insane and I love. So you guys can see, essentially, how this is going to go for the last combo video. Alright guys, so the last combo that I'm going to be showing you is with Phantom Knights. Yes, Phantom Knights can abuse the Super Heavyweight Samurai engine just as well as the rest of these decks, and some of you guys might be thinking, how in God's name did you make space in that extra deck for 4 cards when the extra deck is already so tight? I'm gonna be honest guys, it wasn't easy. It was not easy whatsoever, but I did it. It's great and I love it. And guys, I'm gonna say this now before we start this last combo. If you guys can get this video to like 100 likes, I will make 4 duels and deck profiles showcasing you each one of these different decks, giving you different combo videos, getting you replays, and doing duels and deck profiles for each of these different decks. So if you guys want to see these decks in action, if you guys want to see these decks pretty much what they're capable of, and if you guys want to see the actual deck profiles and card text in them, like the video, because if it gets to 100 likes, I'll make a duels and deck profiles for each and every one of these decks in the coming weeks. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the last combo though guys, so you guys can see what the deck is capable of. So let's go ahead and start, and I will make this clear as well guys. This hand is currently Scales, Wings, Boots, Bike, and Foolish Barrel. we're not going to use the Foolish Burial. So let's go ahead and start. So we go ahead and Bike goes ahead and gets Prodigy, and we start doing the standard Super Heavyweight Samurai combo. We go ahead and get Benkei is going to get the Piercer. We're going to go ahead and equip the Piercer and make the Scarecrow just like normal. We're going to search, go ahead and get the Peacemaker, equip the Peacemaker after summoning back the Piercer, and then we're going to go ahead and summon the Prodigy from the deck, and we're going to go ahead and make Savage, doing the normal thing as we've done every time. Go ahead and put the Scale back, go ahead and get a search for the booster, and then go ahead and use the Savage to equip the Scarecrow. We're going to Pendulum Summon 3. Go ahead and make Axel Stardust Synchro Dragon. Go ahead and make the Bike, summon Baron de Flor, and we're going to use the lovely Torn Scales there to go ahead and discard the wings, to go ahead and send the Cloak to grave, and then we're going to go ahead and search with Cloak a Boots to special summon. We're then going to go ahead and special summon the Boots. We're going to turn that into a Cherubini. We're going to discard to the graveyard our Graph. We're going to summon out Seer, and then we're going to summon out our Rusty Bardiche, and we're going to use Graph to go ahead and summon back the Cherubini. We're then going to go ahead and use Wings to summon the Boots. Boots is going to allow us to summon out the lovely Torn Scales as well, because we banished a card. And then we're going to go ahead and send to the graveyard our Gloves to go ahead and set our Fog Blade. We're then going to go ahead and turn those two into a Break Sword. Break Sword is then going to get destroyed, summoning back both two Phantom Knights, summoning the Redoer from here, and then we're going to use the Gloves, which is going to go ahead and send the Fog Blade to the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and banish the Boots, get the Rank Up Magic spell, go ahead and banish the Fog Blade, summoning back the lovely Break Sword, using the Rank Up Magic launch, and going ahead and summoning the one and only Ophion. So guys, as you know, I love Phantom Knights, I love this engine, and yes, technically we did have to use an additional card in our hand to do this because we needed the Wings in the graveyard to revive, but I will make it clear, we could have done this another way as well, where we go ahead and use the set Frog Blade, send it to the graveyard after our opponent loses a card, and then summon the Break Sword on our opponent's turn to go ahead and make the Ophion on their turn. There are other ways to do this without the Wings, but guys, that is literally the entire deck. This is the deck. I am absolutely in love with the Super Heavyweight Samurai engine. I've been testing it constantly, trying different things, and as you can see, I've made it work with a deck that I love to pieces. Super Heavyweight Samurai with Phantom Knights being able to end on double Omni Negate, a Pop, Ophion, and Redoer. That's gonna still probably not that like whatever card is next, but honestly guys, it is just so strong. The Super Heavyweight Samurai engine is coming out in Cyberstorm Access at the end of the month. You guys need to try it. You guys need to try different decks with it. It is such a strong engine, and I highly suggest you pick up everything for the engine because it's going to be so important and so powerful going forward. So guys, that is the engine. That is what you can do with it in some decks. And as I said, if you can get this video to 100 likes, I will do a duels and deck profiles for every single deck in this video. This is 100 likes for 4 videos, guys. I think that's worth it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tell me your thoughts and opinions on the Super Heavyweight Samurai combo in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Absolute Duel is signing out. This Super Heavyweight Samurai combo is absolutely insane.